GPT. Vielleicht nichts Neues.
Hello and welcome. Today I want to show you a little bit. Just a second. It's some feedback. There we go. That's better. Today I want to show you a little bit about Star Trek Elite Force 2. How to create sort of a bridge, like we know from Bridge Commander, where you can target a crewmate on the bridge and then give them orders. I'm trying to recreate this in Elite Force 2 now, just as a, let's say, for fun exercise. I don't know if that actually goes somewhere or not. Right now it's just for me to see how complicated this is and maybe learn a few new things. Okay, so this is from the RPG map, RPG Enterprise E. It's a complete Enterprise E map, which has basically almost all the rooms from single player, with a excellent aligned skybox. So what we need here is just a bridge, and to make this experiment a little bit easier, I will not be using the perfect skybox. I will just remove or actually take out what I need and leave the rest in the file. So first of all, I will change the name of the file, or actually save a copy of it. Name it Bridge Commander. There we go. Then I will see if I can extract what I need. Therefore, I hide the ship model. I basically need just the bridge, which is that. And just hide the details. Okay. Let me see if there's filters. Yeah, filters. Oh, filters are off. Now I should be able to select the bridge by drawing a brush around it. Pretty much like this. Yeah, that looks good. A little bit bigger. Go selection. Selection, select with brushes, select inside. Now everything that was inside this brush is now selected, which is the part I want to keep. Also, I will have to look into the skybox because I want to keep part of the skybox. But at this time, I'm not quite sure where it actually is. So yeah, I think I'm gonna skip this for now. So I'm just gonna take the bridge. Now I have everything selected I want. Then I go on selection, invert current selection, which will select everything else in the map. And then I hit backspace to remove it from this map. Now I save the file. And there's the model. Yeah, there's no point in keeping it when we don't have a skybox. Remove it. Also remove the synth brush. And this one as well, because it's useless in this context. Or is it? Let me just check. Yeah, it's useless. And let's add a solid wall here, so the level is closed. There we go. Keep its texture conk. And sky portal. There we go. Oh no, I did something wrong. I had a filter on, so it didn't remove the things that were filtered. Let's do it again. Oh, stop. Selection, select with brushes, select inside. Okay, it's all selected. Selection, invert current selection, and remove it. There we go. Now everything that was previously on the map is removed and only the bridge is left over. Because for this example map, I only need the bridge. I want the player to be here at a specific spot and then be able to look around to the specific stations and place an NPC there, and then have the player target the NPC, click with the left mouse button, and this should open up a menu from which a player can then select stuff. So this is the plan so far, but I don't know how far we will get today, so yeah. We need a spawn point for the player, info, player, start. And we actually don't want the player at the spot. Well, there you are. We want the player just behind the chair. So we can probably place a trigger at this chair, and as soon as the player presses use on that trigger, we can activate the scripts. We want the angle to be changed to, let's see, 90? Yeah, that's right. And we want the other one to be a deathmatch. And have multiple of these. So that at least 3 players can spawn here on the map without killing each other. Spawn fragging. Telefragging, actually. There we go. Okay, so what we will need for the script to work properly, we will need some kind of entity at the position. And what I'm gonna do first is place an actor, char Starfleet. Yeah, Starfleet. Let me see. We could have Barclay here. Oh, let's put Barclay here. It's probably the wrong station, but Let's just put Barclay here for fun. Give him the target name. Let me look up something. I have somewhere a layout that is actually show what the stations are. And it's not here. Maybe it's in here. Enterprise bridge. Okay, that's the bridge. Oh man. It's really tiny font. Let me see if I have a bigger picture. Side view. Nope. Bridge upper decks. Nope. All right, let's go with this image here. A little bit bigger. So we are here, and the station we are targeting here would be 18. Con. Okay. So we would name this actor Con. There we go. And then we could give him some sort of animation. We'll give him a sitting animation. These are cinematic animations. They will also play sound and animations. But we want the actor to just be sitting there. So now we're coming to the correct animations. No. Enterprise, computer station. We want to have the actor sitting. There we go. Gesture. It's kind of one of these animations. Let's align the actor with the chair. The chair has an angle of 30. We can apply that to the actor. There we go. Now we have to move the actor correctly into the seat. And this should be pretty much it. Yeah. Now we have our first actor here. Let's just copy the actor and have him on another station. 17. What's 17? 17 is still Con. Okay. Oh, that was 18. Operations management. Okay, so let's just move Mr. Con to 17. That would be here, right? Yeah. And 18 is engineering. What? Operations management. This is done this year. This is 16, I suppose. That should be 16, and that should be 18. Okay, let's put one at con and engineering. Tactical, where's tactical? It would be tactical. But that's kind of bad. Let's just try to do it somehow and decide later. So this was 16 engineering. Engineering. Hello. Put it here. This was con, so we can actually leave him like this. Set the angle to 0. Oh. We need, I think 90 was the right one. 90. Hide all the lights, hide all the details. Go like this. Oh, this looks actually good. Con, there we go. Let's change the character from Barclay to Starfleet, crew. Where's this guy twice in here? Let's go with the cat. Oh, it's not the cat. Which one was the cat? Yeah, never mind. Let's put her here. And then copy this one and move it about here. So I know this is not accurate, but for the purpose of this test, for this exercise, let's just do it like this. 150. And you would be 15 science. But 14, where's 14? Let me just make you tactical. Tactical, there we go. And because it's tactical, let's put a cadet there. Yeah, no, some Wesley. Let's put a guy here because we have one guy, a woman. Okay, let's just maybe well, let's put Dr. Stevenson there. It's not a guy, I know. There we go. Just align her. And what all of them need is the AI to be turned off. So give them AI off 1. There we go. Save it. Now we have 3 characters in place. And because when the player would be sitting here, it would be difficult to aim directly at just this actor. It has a box around it. As you can see, this would be the box. And as a player, it would be really difficult to really hit exactly the box. And the player just has to look in the general direction and then click with the mouse to give orders to this actor. And to achieve this, I'm gonna place an I'm gonna place a trigger around this actor to make it easier. And this trigger will then be referenced in the script. Or actually, let's not make it a trigger. Let's make it a script object. So what's her size? It looks about right. Does it? Yeah, that's about right. Perfect. Selection. Oh, wait. Actually, script object, not solid. Target name. Let's see. What kind of a target name? I think let's best go with something like con. Yeah, but actually it's not a trigger, so let's just name it area. Con area. And then we want to have a texture there. It's not visible. No. Oh. No draw. There we go. I'll make a copy of this again. Move it here to this actor and have it a little bit changed in size to make it easier to access. Move it up, align with the grid. That looks good. Let me see how big that is from here. Yeah, it should be a little bit smaller. About, yeah. Let's have this a little bit smaller again. Yeah, that looks okay. I think that's a fair size. And this was tactical. Let's go with tech area. Then we move a copy of this over here to this actor. And that was supposed to be engineering, right? Let's check this again. Yeah, engineering. Okay, now we have our objects in place. What we're now going to do is start the script. Start to create the script for it, actually. Let's go. Yeah, we don't need this. Go in here. Go for maps. there's our map. Can open that, remove that. And 5, 2, 2. Oh, there we go. Bridge Commander just for fun. There we go. Let's of course start with an explanation what this is. So let's try to simulate the bridge crew. The bridge commander game. This is a exercise. It might be used in a future level for the co-op mod. It might also never be used at all. There we go. Is that right? This is an exercise. It might be used in the future for the co-op mod. It might also be never used at all. That looks about right. Okay, so we start here with the main thread, but let's just copy some stuff from the core mod to have some some stuff the same way. Some stuff consistent. That's the word I was looking for. Let's see, co-op. There is none. Let's go in here and game files, maps. Oh wait, it's actually copied from here. Yeah. There we go. Let's close this again. Copied here. Void main, which means this is the main function that doesn't return any data. Started by the game. So here we go. First of all, we want the actors to have the animations. So we have our actors here. Let's set up actors. By the way, you can't have a function that just has the name setup. This will not work because internally the game has also a function that's called setup, and it would collide with this function. It has a command that's named setup. So you can't use function names that are exactly the same as commands. All right, so set up actors, and because we want to use this stuff as we please, we're gonna declare the stuff. declarations. Set sets animations on the actors and other stuff. The default sitting. To have our actor sitting, we need to change that animation. Make sure AI is off. So we have tactical, let's see what the name of the animation is. There we go. Then we have engineering and con. So they all have the same animation. That would set up our actors to actually be animated like this. Then let's have a trigger here. One second. Let's have a trigger here. Let me see, like this. The trigger needs to be in a specific height for the player. And the trigger doesn't need to be too big. There we go. Trigger. That was trigger use. Use. There we go. Could give it a thread to call. Let's just, yeah. Bridge command, bridge commander captain. Yeah. Soon as this trigger is used, the function bridge commander captain is started in the script, which does not yet exist. But I create it. Has no inputs because it started by script, by trigger. Handles the player using the captain's share. So we need to grab the player. Player. First we need to trigger. Yeah. The trigger get last, get current. Now this script command here returns the current entity from the script. And the current entity is in this moment, which is instantaneous. In this moment, when this trigger is used, the trigger becomes the current entity associated with scripts. So there can only be one at any given time. And when we start with the trigger this function, the trigger is the current script entity for at least a frame time. And if we grab it right now in the same frame, which we can do by not using any wait commands, we have the trigger that was firing to activate this function, which means specifically this trigger. And where are we? Here. Now, as we have this trigger, I'm gonna check if it does actually exist. Does entity exist? If does entity exist? Or let's rather do it like this. If it does not exist, return. Exit here. And because this is still in development, we want to know what's going on. We have a printout. Let's see, print, or let's actually use a co-op function for this because they are much more reliable. Oh, there we go. It's in main, there we are. Print. Co-op main print time and string. There we go. That prints to the console. Let's move it here. Now this is basically the same as the print command, but it's an internal co-op mod function that differentiates between the server type, which means if this is run on Linux, it might not print the command correctly, or vice versa on Windows. It depends on what kind of setup the server has, if it is single player or not. And the co-op mod script function does make sure this is always printed regardless what problems there are. It's always printed to the console, which is very useful when dealing with scripts and debugging them. And we want to let us know that something went wrong. Cannot be used from console. So what I've done here is printed out function. Yeah, let's do it like this. Is a message that the function bridge commander captain cannot be used from the console. Now this message is supposed to be printed when there is no trigger present. So which means that this function should actually only be started when this trigger is being used by a player. But if that is not the case, this trigger here we're trying to grab from the script is not present because the function was not started from the script. It was not started from the trigger, but from the console. You can actually enter commands into the game console and then it goes like, let me show you, it goes like this. Script thread function name. You can enter this into the game console, and in the script, when cheats are activated or you are in single player, this function with this specific name would be started right away in the script. So you could actually use script thread to start various different function names if you know what their names are by looking at the script. And to prevent this from happening here, I'm checking if the trigger here, or if this function here was actually used by a trigger. And that can be done, like I said, by verifying there's actually a trigger present. Does exist? Yeah, and then I'm telling here the player that this function cannot be used from the console. It needs to be started by trigger. And naturally, if someone tries it like this, they also look up the error message in the script, and they will find this. And I will put a comment here so they know what's going on. This function needs to be started by a trigger to grab the current player, or to grab the activating player. There we go. It will stop executing this function if it's not able to find the trigger. And if it is able to find the trigger, I'm gonna grab the player from the trigger. There's a command to do this, a trigger, which is my trigger variable, get last activating entity. And as you can see, the commands turn into specific colors for me because I have a self-created language extension for Notepad++, which highlights me the most commonly used commands. So I can see while I'm typing that my commands are correct. Get last activating entity. There we go. And we check if the player does exist. And if the player doesn't exist, we actually can just copy this completely and change it here to the player. This function needs a player to continue. If there's no player, pointer could not grab player from trigger. So we know at any stage what's going wrong. If there's no player, you're gonna get this message. Great. Okay, so now we have to check if the player has already used this trigger or not. For this, we do it like this. Now at this stage, we have a valid player. Valid player. So if the player get float var, this is a kind of variable that will be attached to the player object, and it's very flexible because you don't need to have it predefined. You can just set it in script and then read it, and even if it doesn't exist, you can read it and you get certain default values back. So get float var is captain we could actually change this to be like, yeah, let's let it be like this, is captain. If the player is captain, return will actually return, and we will print out a message for the player, HUD print, which is print to the lower left section of the screen where text messages are posted. HUD print. Oi, Captain, you are already. You're already on it. Or, yeah, Yeah, let's just be it like this. If I come up with something, I will change it. You're already. I was thinking about something funny like Bones would say, but I don't recall any funny lines right now. Oi, Captain, you are already. Okay, here we go. Or we make it just more informal. You are already the captain. Let's put it like this. What more do you want? So a question mark here, and the slash and this N symbol here creates a new line. If I would not have it here, the messages that follow would come in the same line and the text would be glued together. This function here does it automatically from the core mod. If this is not the captain, we have a while loop here that does several checks. While does entity exist if player, while the player exists, 1, and yeah, it's not gonna happen. That's again limitation of the script language, so let's use a variable here, float. We don't need it actually. Yeah, we don't need it. Yeah, no, we do. Float f what's it be player okay. Let's call it just like this. Player okay is 1. Column it here. If the player is okay, we continue here. If doesn't it exist? So if we need to have these checks separate, because if I would do it like this, and then check for the health of the player, even if the player does not exist, it would always still go for the second command, and that would create a warning in the console that could spam the console and potentially slow down the game. So we do it separately, that we don't get any issues. Does entity exist? If this entity exists, if this entity not exist, now let's it's actually a board at this point then, because if the player is gone, there's no need to do anything anymore, really. And for example, if the player disconnects, Yeah, we need to set this here. Mark player as captain. And instead of get, gonna use set. Have the value 1. And now we check here if the player is dead. If player get health is lower or equal to 0, the captain is dead, so the captain is no more. The player will no longer be captain. And, or let's actually do it like this. If we have more checks, this will be ended. And the function will go down here. But we need then here our wait for frame. So the server does about 30 times a second. Oh wait, about 20 times a second check what's going on and compare changes on a level. And each time the server does check all the things, it's one frame time. So the server does update 20 times a second, everything, or basically everything. And script commands like this can be run then in intervals by waiting one frame time. So I run only once in this frame time my loop. So instead running my loop like 1,000 or 5,000 times, I just run it once and then I let it wait for the next frame and then I let it run again. That's what I'm going to add here. Wait for frame. Let me see where the frame is. Frame. That's the function. That's a core mod function. Wait a frame. There we go. Let's just add a commentary. Run this loop once every server frame. That's how FPS 20, for example. Check if player is still active. There we go. Okay, done. Now we come to the sweet part. Checking. Yep. Target. Checking what the player is targeting, which is, for example, when the player is sitting here or standing here, this object or this object or this object. If the player is targeting engineering area, we're gonna have a message printed for feedback. If first of all, we have to grab the target. Target is player get target. Is it the right name? Script commands. get targeted entity. Okay. This is a co-op mod specific function again. There we go. This returns whatever the player's crosshair is targeting, if it is a level object, like a actor, weapon, item, door, whatever is interactive. Anything that moves other than the static geometry. Like, for example, this floor would not be returned, and everything that's about now, pretty much about now gone, would not be returned. So this is what would be returned, is what you can see. And actually, we don't need them. They are not required. Yeah, there we go. The view screen would be returned. Now these stations would be returned. The doors would be returned. And other players and the actors would be returned. Not the static models, because these models have here a static tick in their settings, which means that they are not actually interactive. They baked into the map. Once this map is compiled, they are pretty much unchangeable. Now let me just return everything to the normal. Let's disable the filters. There we go. Let's just save the map just in case the Radiant decides to crash. Okay, now let's see if we have now a target. Does entity exist? And because we want not every frame a message, we do it like, no, actually like entity. I don't know if that works. Let's just try entity last target. Let's remember the last target. If the target does exist, actually here we can go for 1-1. Oh no, let's do it like this. If does entity exist last target, if we have currently a target, an object that the player is targeting, and if we had previously a target, we can make a comparison. If the last target and current target are not the same, we will actually have a message printed to the player. The player at print. Come on. You are targeting don't need this. Target get target name. And let's be a little bit sarcastic. And if we don't have wait. Let's do it like this. P print message. 0, if you have actually to print a message. So if the circumstance that if the target is different, we want to print the message. And we want also to print the message if else. Oh, wait. Here. If there's no target, if there's no last target, because then this is the first entity and we also want a message for this. These are the two cases. Either the entity has changed, the target has changed, or it's the first target. If print message oh. Yeah, print message. So let's have some info here. Grab the currently targeted entity, the player, grab the currently targeted entity by the player. Grab? Yeah, that's not perfect English, but I think someone will understand. If this is the first entity being targeted, print a message. If this is a different entity than before, print a message. There we go. We have pretty much described now what this function does. And this is the captain. Yeah, here 0. No more captain. Player is no more captain. Okay, so let's try this. There we go. Let's compile the map. Oh yeah, we forgot something. No, I think we're good. Build this slide and extra. Now the map leaked, so something's wrong. Let me just see where here. Okay. Detail. Okay. Okay, here. There we go. That should fix it. Okay, that fixed it. There we go. Now let's start the map. Bridge Commander. And see if it even runs or not. Okay, that was to be expected. Okay, so it has problems. Ah, yes, I see why. I forgot something. I forgot something for the co-op mod to actually work. Let's just change that. Let's just close the editor. Go to the game folder. That should fix it. Where's the script? Here's the script. Come on. There we go. Oh, nope. Update here. There we go. That should actually work. Co-op prefix. There we go. Still the same error message. Yeah, so let's check the line 43. Looks all good. So we just need to include the co-op mod. So let's do that. I thought it would automatically do this, but honestly, it's been quite a while since I did my last from the scratch script. So let's go with a pretty recent map. That would be Roadtech 9. Oh, we need this too. Okay. Well, that's actually it. Like this. And we don't need this. Would we copy the level end function? No, that would be this. Oh. Just for good measure. Mission accomplished. Transmit to all. We don't need this. We don't need this here. And we're gonna load the same map. Co-op Bridge Commander. We're gonna loop the same map. And for single player, yep, we have some wait. Let's wait 3 seconds and then disconnect. Actually, we can, in general, wait just 3 seconds. Here we go. Let's close this. Let's check this. Yeah. This is supposed to go here. There we go. And that should not work. That looks good. Well, it's running. Let's change the name. Let's use this trigger. You are targeting world. Okay, something's not working. But something is working and something is not working. Here, engineer. Con. and tactical. Let's go around. Let's see. View screen, off screen. This has no name. Ready room door. Ready room laptop. Well, that's great, but not quite as expected. Let's close this. Let's go down here and print message 0 if the last entity does exist, and last target. Oh yeah, that's not gonna work. Because last target is not set ever. Should be set after the first frame, which is if you have a target at the bottom here, about here. Last target is the current target. And then it jumps back up to the start again and does the same thing over. Okay, this should fix it. Yeah, that should actually do it. Now let's use this trigger here. Okay. Still doing the same thing. Let me just see why that is. If this target exists, last target, the last target does not exist. Let's have an additional printout. Just so we know where it's going. Not exist and exist and last target. So we can actually trace where the script is going. There we go. Use last target. Is it doing this always? Okay. Last target. It's going here. Why is it then? Well, there should be 0 then. Okay, what am I missing? Let me see. I'll just disable this. So last target does exist. Not exist. Okay, we have to look up the console. Oh, yeah. Hello. Yeah. What game are you modding? Yeah, you can just name it. It's okay. Treasure Planet Piece 2. Treasure Planet. Let me see. Never heard of it. Treasure Planet 2. Let me see. Ah, okay. We just move it here. Treasure Planet. is it a it's always a little bit tricky when you are on Twitch because you don't know what the website is actually displaying. So I'm very careful with opening websites. Treasure Planet 2 live action. Yeah, just maybe you can tell me a little bit about the game. Is it a point and click adventure? Ah, PlayStation. Ah, sorry, my bad. Is it where you try to find out by reading journals where some treasure is hidden, or how does it work? It's a 3D platformer. Like Rayman? Yeah, so it's closer to Jak and Daxter. Yeah, I don't know these two. I'm old, so and I didn't watch much TV as a child, so you will have to explain that too. I know Pinky and Brain, but I imagine that's not the same. Restart. So that's based on a Disney movie, and these are all Disney characters, right? Last target, how can that be? I will have to look it up later. Educate myself. Because there's a lot I don't know, especially about these things. Let me go for the... So, what kind of engine is it based on? I mean, modding for PlayStation 2 is probably a little bit more difficult, I imagine. Loop. Not exist. And then it goes on last target. The Treasure Planet game is based on the animated Disney movie, and the animated Disney movie it's a remix of Treasure Island itself. Ah, yeah, and the Disney movie itself is a remix of Treasure Island. I think I've seen that. Treasure Island. It somehow rings a bell, but you know, movies and games are released with a German title in Germany, so oftentimes I'd be like, I don't know this game, and then I find out the original name is completely different from the translated name, and I do know, in fact, the movie or the game. So Treasure Island. I mean, just Google this because I think I know this game. Treasure Island. Let me see. Nope, that's based on a book, from what I can see. I think I'm mixing things up. Yeah, I do indeed not know it. I will have to look it up later again, see, because somehow it rings a bell, but I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let me just go back to my script here and see what's going on. If the target exists, we go here. And if the last target exists, we go here. The last target exists, and yeah, we go in here. I think probably the problem is somewhere around here. It doesn't like it. Let's do it just like this. And reset it on each start of the loop. Okay, we go here. Last target is not equal to target. Let's print new target. No last target. Let's gonna try this. Here we are. Treasure Island was originally a book. Disney made a live action film based on that book, like they did with many. And then much later, a couple of Disney writers decided they wanted to do an animated film based on Treasure Island, but set in space. Oh. Oh, it's getting complicated. I have to track back. The game is a 3D platformer. The game's from 2002. Based on Disney movie. Okay, so the game is basically a 3D platformer based on that Disney movie. Treasure was originally. So is it now then? Is it now based on an animated film, but set in space, or is it made on the live action movie? Because that got me a little bit confused now. Oh, that's good. See here. There's no message. No. Target. Target. Oh, this looks good. Let me see. It's based on the animated film Treasure Planet. Ah, okay, now I understand. The one is called Treasure Island and the other one is called Treasure Planet. Yeah, it's just when you mash the things together in your brain like I do, like energy efficient thinking, which which is not really good. Yeah, there we go. I mixed them up. So one is Treasure Planet, and the other is Treasure Island. There we go. Let's try this again. go. They are not sitting. Why are they not sitting? Let me see. Does the console say have about nothing? Yeah, I have to check this out. There you go. No last target. New target. New target. Okay, this is a different target. This is a different target. This is a different target. Okay, what we can now actually do to have a visual feedback is to hide the target for a brief second. So let's copy this here and move it here and call it helper hide NTTE. Let's call it helper function hides the given entity for a brief moment for visual feedback. Oh, a helper function. There we go. If does entity exist, show. So you still haven't told me what kind of an engine this is based on, the game. Show, hide. Wait 0.1 and then show it again. Let's, for good measure, put our function here. And once we have a new target, we blink the new target for a second. Target. Oh. Let's just see how that works out in game. Restart. There we go. Go to use trigger here. Ah, okay, it works with him. It doesn't work with the doors. That's interesting, but it works with this object. Okay, this seems to be a limitation with the game. The doors here don't hide, but other script objects hide. Also, the actors do hide. So let me just read this. It's a pretty complicated game to mod. I've been working on making a level editor. Yeah, I can imagine that being hard work. And still have only partially figured out its geometry. What you might want to do is figure out what kind of engine it is based on if you don't already have. And then look into it. It probably is using BSP files. And when it's using BSP, you have to figure out if it is based on Quake, Quake 2, Quake 3, or Unreal Tournament, and so forth, because there are two major engines that were used in many games. And I'm not saying it can only be this, but the likelihood is very high that it is based on Quake or Quake 2 and is using BSP as maps. So the engine was in-house developed. Okay, are you really sure about that? because very often back in the day when it was a 3D game, they used BSP files because it was the best method to actually handle levels. So when they are using BSP, there's a lot of documentation for it. You might find more information. Ah, okay. Yeah, if it's truly not a BSP, then good luck figuring things out. Well, I think that's actually not bad that you have actually come so far to finding a few things out about it. Oh, that's 75%. That's actually quite a lot. That's actually an achievement. I mean, there will always be some things you discover later on, but 75% is something to get going, yeah. Okay, we have a new target here. Let's go here. And restart the level. So, how long have you been working on it? Like years, or do you have a background in engineering or something? And that would make it easier. I mean, it's not required to have a background like this, but certainly helps. Okay, this looks perfect. Now this is working. It's working excellently. So let's now only print a message when we have certain target names targeted. If hello, welcome. Yeah, this is actually part of the RPG Enterprise E, which is actually a very big level. Let me just see, Radiant. It's a level for Star Trek Elite Force 2. It's based on the original maps. It was rebuilt by a mapper over a few years. And it had many problems with performance and load times and compiling. And I've been working on optimizing it. And it's so far now that it actually only needs, I think this is the right map, that it actually only needs scripts, mission scripts, like a real story with objectives and so on. So it will actually be a full-blown on mission in the game with the co-op mod. And I've not yet come up with a good idea for a story, and I don't want to just copy what they did in the films or whatsoever. And I would also like to have it. I would also like it to have some voice acting or something, but it would sound really strange and not that great if that would be all me talking. Okay, so I can show you a little bit. Let me just zoom out so you can get an idea of the level. Yeah, it's a little bit laggy. That's okay. Now this would be the Enterprise E map. This is the shuttle bay here, in this area. And yeah, laggy. Shuttle bay area connected with the crew area. And here would be the hazard ops, which you have seen in single player. This area would be the hazard ops. Let me see if I can go down there. Yeah, I can actually here activate this, deactivate this, and activate this. This would be the hazard ops. Just turn off these because it lags. And as you can see, maybe you recognize the rooms, and they are all connected together. I've been optimizing stuff on the map, like, for example, these tiny brushes here, they used to be structural. Structural is like this when they're red, which means they add visual calculations to the map file. And there's a limited amount of visual calculations you can put into a map file before the BSP does no longer compile, or the compiler does no longer create a BSP. And I've done optimizations like turning brushes into detail. And what you can see here is what is structurally calculated later, which make up then the areas that are used to calculate which objects or polygons are actually visible, which surfaces are actually visible to the player. This is how it looks with everything turned on. And with the optimizations, you can see when I blend out these things, the amount of calculations needed to calculate the spaces here is much lower, therefore the map can be much bigger. I've actually written a tutorial on this stuff, and I'm not so sure if that's helping anyone other than myself. But yeah, there you go. It's almost the entire single player Enterprise E from the game in one level, all connected with turbolifts and scripts. So let me read the next message. Yeah, I think when you have been working in programming or have been doing coding for a long time, I think you gather a lot of information and experience that can help you figure things out. So I wouldn't know where to start exactly. Reverse engineering an engine or a map file. I don't think I have these skills. I'm lucky to have the tools I need and go with some scripting and coding in C++. And well, for me, basic stuff. And I don't think I'm a great programmer or a great scripter, but I do take a lot of pride in being thorough. So when I program or code something, I take a lot of things into consideration. I try to make the user experience actually enjoyable, and I think that's something I can do really well, and that's probably my strength. Everything else, I would say I'm not so much of a good example to learn from. Okay, the next message is, I'm currently in alpha stages of building a complete sovereign for Source, making the models from scratch in Blender. I adore this ship. Yeah, I like it too. I don't know why so many people hate the sovereign class, but I like it too. I find it a bit dark, but I think this adds to the atmosphere. I like the overall design, the style. I like the movies with it actually also. So yeah. Yeah, modeling is something I never come into really. I've never really worked with it. So yeah, you might want to source stuff from other engines, right? For example, well, I can actually send you the map file for this map, because it's going to be open source anyway. You might can look at the measurements and maybe have some of the architecture. I don't know how compatible it will be, but I think the brushwork will work anyway. So if that is of help to you. The next message. I technically already set up a viewer renderer for the levels. Oh, that's nice. But there are a few hiccups. Yeah, there always are. I still have to overcome like some properties of the materials I'm kind of confused on, particularly since it's just like 3 bytes. Oh yeah, they had back in the day they had a lot of smart ways of reducing the data. Maybe they are using flipped, how's it called? Flipped bytes for something? But I'm sure you have thought of that already. My examination of the decompiled code confused me more since there are, yeah, okay, since there are a whole bunch of branching logic based on the 3 bytes. It's hard to track stuff like that for me. Decompiled code since, yeah, I think if they really used flipped bytes, like yeah, let me think about it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm no immediate help for you there. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think as long as you are actually enjoying the work you do and you find that you learn something and you actually gain something from it, like experience or killing time with it in a good way, there's no you don't need to be a pro or you don't need to have any specific reason to be enjoying what you're doing because you don't have to be a programmer to enjoy it or you don't have to be a professional to enjoy it or what I get often asked by people is, oh, what's your profession, what you're working, have you studied this? And when I answer this, no, my job is not in programming, no, my job is not in computers, and no, I have not studied anything. People get confused sometimes because they often think that you have to work in a specific segment to do programming or work on games. So yeah, if you enjoy it, doesn't matter if you're professional or not. Just make sure at some point, if you give the project to someone else can actually work with it. So comment your code and keep track of changes you make and try to build up some kind of documentation that's extremely valuable. I've been working on the Elite Force 2 code mode for like, let me see, 2005 I started with concepts and the first trials. 2006 the real development began, and that's now 17 years. Yeah, about 17 years. Um, and some things I completely forgot. What the idea was behind it, what the meaning was, and when I find some code that I don't remember why it's there, and I change it, I most likely break something. So I have come to the custom to mark code that needs to be in a specific order, like with a commentary like magic code. If you touch this, I kill you. And then if I can, I write another sentence below like why this is magic code because of the timing or because of certain events that happen before or after, and it only works in exactly this order, with exactly this timing, in exactly this structure. And I try to make it so that people actually can, when they read this, that they actually can warp their heads around it and understand what the idea behind something is that I'm creating. Okay, let me read a few more messages. Triangle stripes. Yeah, I wouldn't know about that, but I think there's a lot of um, yeah, there's a lot of information and detail about modeling and rendering, and I think it's pretty complex. And I also think it's very confusing for someone like me who has no background in computer science. And I find myself often going back to the very basics, learning things I've learned like 10 years ago and completely mixed up or made my own version of it in my head over time, and completely forgot the raw meaning, the actual real information that's behind it. And when I read up on things at some point again, I understand again what the actual meaning was and what I was doing wrong. And especially in C++, this happens a lot to me. So I go back and check what, for example, templates are used for, or how certain arrays are handled, and address stuff and pointers and things. Some things I just have used so often, I always know how to use them. And some things I use so rarely that I completely forgot how to use them correctly, and I make some mistakes. And it's always better to go back and double check. If it's not your daily bread working on this stuff, you're bound to have issues with it. You have an absolute guarantee that you bring something into your code that's not correct, unless you're really 100% doing all the time the stuff and you have done it for years and you learned it from scratch, completely fresh from university or whatever. Early on, you're set. If you don't do this and just come into this stuff later and you don't have a professional background in it, you always have troubles with it, figuring things out and remembering everything correctly. What I do often is mixing things up, like between Medal of Honor, Allied Assault, where we also have a co-op mod, and Elite Force 2, and C++, and PHP, and yeah, that's pretty much it, what I mix up sometimes. So sometimes I come up with an idea that only works on a specific game, but I suggest the idea to someone asking questions in a different game, which can be really confusing for all involved. So I need to figure out how to make triangles triple that output stripes in a manner compatible with the game. Yeah, I'm lucky that's your job, not mine. That's quite a few years. I was actually the first time I worked on a mod, I saw it about maybe 3 years, and well, it turned out to be longer. The initial first time I finished it and made all the levels co-op compatible was 6 years, and then I decided to redo the entire co-op mod together with a second person in C++. So instead of altering all the level scripts, I altered the game code, which in turn then allowed me to have less time spent on the actual scripts, because I could often see functions and commands being used the same way. I could make them compatible directly in C++. So I would not need to go into the scripts, like opening 70 plus script files and editing them all by hand, searching where it goes wrong and fixing it by hand, which is much more complicated than fixing it once in C++. So that took then, with two people, only 1 year to do the entire co-op mod all over again. So this shows that when you are experienced in something and you have some knowledge and pointers where to go and where to look for and what to work on, it goes much faster. And if I would have done this alone, I would probably have taken about 2 years or longer. And with two people, it took about half year to get all the C++ code done and another half year to get all the scripts right and fix all the bugs and work out all the details. But basically, 1 year as opposed to 6 years development, that's really something. I've been working on modding this game off and on since 2020. Yeah, as long as you can really focus on it and can create some kind of documentation for yourself, I think that's actually a good place to be. But if you're like me, like having pauses for extended period of times and then switching between the games, I think you get really confused. So I hope you're not doing that. I hope you stay focused on the task because everything else is really confusing, especially when the things are very close together, very similar. Triangle stripes, to clarify, are models that are used that triangle stripes, to clarify, are models that use a kind of hard-coded index pattern so that face indexes don't actually need to be stored. Most modern 3D models store a list of verticals and then a list of indexes for how the verticals are connected into triangles. This game's models only store a list of verticals with some cues to the triangle stripe system for when to swap winding order. Okay. I'm trying to visualize that in my brain, but it's not very cooperative. So I'm a great fan of I don't know the name for it. Models that explain things, like for example, here you have like you have like a graphics that's like just change the background. Oh. You have like a graphics that has a flowchart is the right word. I remember. I'm a great fan of flowcharts that actually connects things together so they can be understood by people. And I'm really that kind of visual person. I need visual cues. Without visual cues, I'm completely lost. You can tell me everything. I can just nod and take the input and remember the words and kind of the meaning, but I cannot really make the final connection. I cannot, as long as I cannot visualize it in my brain, it's invalid data for me. So that's really something where I'm different from what other people can do in their brain. Eventually, months, years down the road, I want to put my sovereign models in Unreal Engine 5 and construct a private version of it to give myself the ultimate sovereign experience and record a walkthrough for YouTube. Yeah, I'm always a fan of things getting released. I know that's a problem when you do it for a different engine. That's why I'm still building on Elite Force 2 because it's the most capable game with the most tools and scalability and visuals and up-to-date graphics, because Elite Force 1 is probably much more moddable than Elite Force 2, but it's much more C coding involved, and it's a lot of more work on the render side and figuring out things to make it much more prettier. And I think Elite Force 2 is a good starting base for this. Yeah, I know what you mean, because that's why I'm still sticking with the game here, because I can use the Star Trek license here because it's part of the game, and the end user license agreement does not prohibit me doing mods for it. It specifically allows doing mods like this. Okay, so let me just go back to my script for a second. We want the message to be printed here. Yeah, let's just... I don't remember what I want to have here. So let's just get inside the... Ah, yeah, okay, I remember. Filter... show only entities yeah, those were entities that we actually want interaction with. At this stage, we're printing the message. Let's put it in a string variable. This is faster as target name. His target name is target get raw target name. So this returns the target name without the $sign. Yeah, I've heard of projects that have been shut down by CBS. There was the Next Generation Enterprise thing. And as I can tell, the Roddenberry Foundation has also some virtual stuff. There's like, yeah, Stage 9 and other stuff. There was something else. I think 3 more projects. And the Roddenberry Foundation has something like a virtual tour or something. And I'm not sure if it was CBS directly or if it was the Roddenberry Foundation, although I don't think the Roddenberry Foundation would go around sabotaging the IP. I think it's purely a CBS thing where people make decisions that are, well, good in terms of economy in their mind, and not in terms on what do the fans actually want, what can we give the fans, what can the fans actually serve themselves, and what can we utilize from the fans. I know it's a little bit difficult for the company to actually make an informed decision like, okay, this user has created good content, this user did not talk bad about our brand, this user has behaved, this user is legit, it's not trying to scam anyone, we will support him. I think that's a really big step for a company to do this. They have a lot to lose by doing that. So they would need to invest heavily to figure out if someone is really good or not, unless this person is a prominent person, a star already or something, very known person with a good reputation. Then they could try to trust this person, but other than that, I think it's a really risky step for a company to trust a single person that has created a map or a mod or something. I understand them being reluctant and rather having it shut down than giving it support, but I would prefer if they would not shut it down, if they would give some kind of guidelines and say, here's what you can do and here's what you cannot do. And if you're inside these bounds, we leave you alone. And if you violate the bounds and do something really bad with it, we're gonna sue you or we're gonna have you shut it down. I would prefer them being more diplomatic, and it's really sad that these games are no more, because I would have liked to actually look at them. And I think from a company perspective, I understand that. I understand their action, but I would really like them to change that perspective, because they have a huge responsibility and they have a huge brand, and they should really care for growing this brand into all directions, all branches, not just what they create and release, but also nourish the fandom, because that's what they're living off. Without fandom, I think, without Star Trek fandom, I'm not sure if CBS would have survived so long. So that's something I think they should consider when taking actions like this. But to be fair again, I understand the difficulty behind it, so I'm not judging them. I'm just telling you my wishes. Okay, so if, yeah, we don't want to have it here, we want this here. 0. Oh, yeah, exactly. If the target name, so I'm putting this into a string because I can compare it faster than having actual script commands here, because each script command is a separate event which costs more resources. It's minimal, but it's still, when you do a lot of operations, it's noticeable. If the target name of this is, so what do we have here? Let's go back to the bridge view. The bridge is in this direction. The bridge is here. There we go. What do I have? Translucent. Patches. Where are... Oh. Ah, yeah, that's the wrong map. Stupid me. That's not the map I've been working on. That's the Enterprise E map. That's the actual map you can play. I think there's a... on ModDB, there's an early release from this. I think it's called Enterprise E RPG Enterprise E Alpha, and it has a patch which adds a sort of mini mission. And you don't need any other mod than just the game and the maps and the fix. And it's all available on ModDB. This is what this is based on. So I'm now gonna load my project file again. Co-op bridge commander. There we go. That's my bridge. And this is the entity I want to be able to be shown. So it's always with area. Okay. If it is this or con or tactical. Let's actually do the opposite if it's not. Yeah. That's a good place to add logic errors. And just changing what the code should do on the fly. Yeah. Filter, show only entities that we actually want interaction with. Okay. So this should actually be outside of the check, because it would not work otherwise. Okay, so we have our filter, then we have our message print check. Okay, so let's just try this. Yeah, completely fair. Ever since Elite Force 2, this game really influenced my love for the ship, and having the opportunity to spend time to give it some love and make it for a very recent engine would fulfill my personal desire and happiness, even if I can't release it in fear of CBS. My goal would be completed. Yeah, that's something something very personal. Yeah, I think for me that wouldn't do it. If I would spend so much time in something, I would want to share it. That's just me. So okay, something's not working. That doesn't mean it's not okay for you. I mean, it can be good for you. For me, it's just I feel like there we go. I feel like when I put so much work into it, I feel like I won't do it just for me. I mean, I feel like sharing is the real thing for me, but that's a personal preference. So okay, it's sort of working. I think I know what the problem is. Let me see. Yeah, it's actually not targeting the bounding box. It's actually not. I think because they are not solid. Let me just change the texture on them so I can see them, if they're actually reacting or not. You can actually find out that is actually a thing. I do have the Elite Force 2 co-op mod, so I have a project that's actually established, and I think the #1 mod for the game, obviously after so much time spent on it, and I think it's worth putting some more work into it, adding stuff to it, improving it, and people are still downloading it just to play the co-op. For example, there are people that send me emails with some bugs or with thank you message that say, oh, it's great that you did this mod. I've played with my children or with my friends, and thank you very much. And I think that's still cool when the project you're working on is still giving happiness to some people. Oh, what was that? Probably from a common calc. Okay. Yeah, never mind that. So I for myself cannot imagine doing it just for myself. Yeah, that's where Source comes into play. I can release it as HammerMap in Gmod, and CBS doesn't care. It's a bit more work to make it in Source compatible, but I'll be able to release it then. I don't understand quite what you mean by that, because I don't know if that is actually the case, because the thing that makes working on Elite Force 2 possible like this is, and let's make this clear, I'm no lawyer, so I cannot give you any legal advice, and this is just my personal view on it. I think because the game has a Star Trek license already in place, it's licensed, it can use Star Trek content. If you create something in a new engine or in a new game, especially if you want to earn money with it, you need to license the license of Star Trek for the corresponding area. So if you want to have the original series content, you need to license a TOS license. If you want to have the next generation content, you need to license TNG content, and so on. And I don't think Half-Life 2 Gmod specifically has anything licensed there. It's just possible that it's such a niche for them and the popularity is not so big, or it's too complicated. And maybe Valve has their hand over it. Maybe Valve is giving some kind of protection because of their name. And I don't know how that's actually related. So I'm just guessing here. For whatever reason, no Stargate and Star Trek mods have gotten into any troubles that are on Gmod. I don't know why, but I just know with Elite Force 2 there's at least some semi-legit background. I'm not so sure about the other games though, if they don't already have a license for Star Trek. I did at one point help with a co-op mod for a game, sort of. It didn't really make the mod or add to it. I ported it. Yeah, but still, people like you that do this ugly work, that's really, it's extremely technical and very deep, and you need to be very invested in data types and structures. That's not a thing for everyone. So that there are people that are specifically good in this stuff, and I'm not one of them. So if you are one of them, good for you, and good that you are here. Because I don't think there are really too many people that really do this well. I think there are more people that do the creative stuff and the basic level entry modding and coding stuff, but not the really deep data type stuff. I think that's really advanced stuff where you can really take your brain deep into structures, which is something I'm struggling with when I cannot make an image out of it. If I don't have a sort of flowchart in my brain for what I'm doing, I'm not able to do it. It's really strange. It's somehow how my brain is wired. If I cannot really comprehend what I'm working on, I cannot work on it. It sounds strange, but I think that's how my brain works actually. The mod was being made for PAL version of the game, and I translated the mod code to be compatible with NTSC version of the game. Yeah, that has to be do with rendering, right? The rendering stuff. So the next message, yeah, it's nice. It's a niche that it doesn't affect it. It's nice or niche? It's so niche. Okay, I understand. Yeah, it's so niche that it doesn't affect it. Yeah, I would think so, but on the other hand, I can imagine that CBS might not really go for something like this because I think you have to pay for Gmod. And there's a big company behind Valve and Gmod and Source Engine in general. So the only thing big companies are afraid of are other big companies. So if CBS would really try to go for Gmod like this, they couldn't be sure that Valve would step in at some step or part during the legal process. And that would be a disaster for CBS. That would prolong the legal process. It would cost more money. It would probably have a really bad impact for CBS because Valve has an incredible good standing with the players and the community. So that would be a lose scenario. And I don't think a big company would risk that. On the other hand, if you build something on a free engine and you have no association, you're basically free to shoot. Okay. So it's a different version, okay. Okay, so let me see if that actually works. Build. I just did. Okay, let me go. Start the game again. We use the trigger. No last target. Just target. Okay, it's not working. It's not working with this block. Yeah. I'm guessing because the block is not solid. So let me just go into my script and be a wizard real quick. Let's go into setup and create a new function. Setup level. Oh yeah, stupid me. I forgot something. Let's just put it in here. Or actually, you know what? Let's do it in here. Here, setup actors, setup level. And let's first set up the level. Yeah, because we don't have any. Yeah, but still, we don't want to have this. I don't want to have this as a normal function. I want to have it as thread because I want my main function to end as soon as possible. So I don't want to have any prolonged actions here in my main thread. Yeah, let's go take them solid. That actually was my phone. So yeah, I have that as a message sound, the transporter. Solid. Let me just see if that works. Oh, tactical tag and con. Then I'll restart and see. Oh, and see if the blocks react. Oh yeah. Someone forgot something. Here. Void. Oftentimes the code is compiled in a completely different order. Even most things are still identical between versions, so there's quite a lot of effort that can go into making translations of code made for one region to make it work for another region. Has that to do with them using a different compiler, like for example, a different company having the same source code, but changing things to it and using a different kind of compiler? Next message. I translated like 500 lines of assembly and made absolutely certain each line was pointing to the locations in the NTSC code that they were originally pointing into the PAL code. Ah, yeah, okay. So, if I understand it correctly, you were working there in assembler code? That's something I've not really looked into. I mean, who really would like to when there are alternatives? Okay, so just go for using the trigger here. Did it work? No. Okay, so the problem is that these blocks are not solid. So they are not reacting. Okay, so that's a thing with the actual game code. Get targeted entity players aiming. Let's look up if we can actually change this. Here we go. Go to the definition. Get target entity. Okay. Need to look for all occurrences. Here we go. Oh, I was there already. It's probably by the looks of it. Let me just see. It's in player H. Return targeted entity, go to definition. Ah, okay, that's what it's doing. Where are you set? I think I know how to fix this. Here there is. So the problem is this object is not solid, and it should be like this so the player can actually move around the actors. But there's an extra command that makes it targetable. And I've seen that because here's stuff that's used when using the tricorder, when aiming at an object and a sort of archetype appears, like a LCAS overlay HUD that's displayed on the object. And they are activated via a script command, or they are made visible via a script command that's named let me see, targetable or something like that. Just check. Here is the reference of that sprite. Targetable sets whether or not this actor should be targetable by the player. Do we have it only on the actor, or is that? Well, let's take a look into the archetypes actually. Archetypes. They are. Nope. They are pack. No. Pack 10 maps. Global scripts. Global script archetype. There we go. Contents. Targetable. So this is the command I was looking for. I was not completely off, but I was definitely off. There's a no touch. Oh, let's add this too. Yeah, let's add them. Set up level, set up actors. Let's have a, yeah, let's sets level spec. And let's actually move this down. Yeah. Because structure. Set up targetable. Let's move this in here. Let's give it an entity. I will look at the messages in a moment. E, no touch. E, contents. Allow, and let's also add, for good measure, not solid. So we can correct the laziness of the mapper in the future. And let's see, does entity exist? Or actually, if it does not exist, E, where's my print function? Here we go. Let's copy this. I'm a big fan of copying code because it reduces the amount of errors it can make. Function targetable. Given entity was not found. So at least we get some sort of error message. It's targetable. Allow this entity to be targeted by the player and still have no collision. Okay, so I'm gonna look at the messages. Yeah, I've seen that. The interval between versions of the query for can make data. So make the 500. Okay, basically, technically, it was action replay code, but they essentially can be considered as assembly instructions. Action replay code. Yeah, I've heard about that. And especially with them being used as such for most part. Yeah, I think that's close enough. That's really close enough. It was basically just assembly code translated to action replay code, and I actually found it more annoying to deal with the action replay code. To be honest, action replay codes are done purely through numbers, and that makes it even more unreadable than assembly instructions, in my opinion. I can see that, yeah, I can really see that. Okay, let me just close this. There we go. I need to bring this into focus. Yeah. Now we have to check if that actually works. Setup level. Let them actually be here. Yeah, let's first clone this. All right, there we go. Probably forgot to declare again. There we go. Now you should be happy. GameCube version, Legends of Zelda. So the co-op mod you worked on was the GameCube version of The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. It's actually a good game. It's actually a kind of nice game to be making a co-op mod for. What I was thinking of making a co-op mod for was Heavy Metal Fact 2, which is a third-person shooter action adventure. And that would be also blast. So I can imagine anything like third person with campaigns like this and a nice storyline. That's actually, I think these games are really a blast in co-op, where you can explore stuff and talk to characters, and I think that's actually quite nice. Oh yeah, it works. So this should now be not solid. No, is it? Yeah, it's not. It's a little bit lagging, but I think that has to do with client side. This being still solid on the client side, but it's actually not on the server side, so the server corrects. Yeah, but that's fine. That's okay. That's an okay trade-off. Yeah. Yeah, that extra step here. But it's an okay trade-off. I can live with that. Okay, so now next step would be to make the characters actually say something. We're gonna go. Let's go with hiding them. Right, hide. Hide. Let's actually not use this. What else can we actually... Yeah, there's no easier or better way to do this, so let's make them actually, for the purpose of this test, give them a different texture. Okay, textures common. Yeah, I don't know the GameCube. I've never had a GameCube game, or never seen a GameCube actually, so I don't know how you would connect the two players, if that can be done on the same console, for example. That would be interesting to know. I mean, there's so many consoles and different platforms. It's hard to keep track of if you're not really invested in this stuff. So let me just see Fractal. I think it's Fractal. There we go. Fracture small. Let's build this map, close this game. Come on. Are you kidding me? Yeah, finally. I think the silliest online multiplayer mod I've seen was for the game Getting Over It. It's not technically a real multiplayer experience since the players can really interact with each other, nor does it change gameplay in any way, but the players can still all see and talk with each other. Huh? They cannot interact, but they can see and talk with each other. So basically they cannot take any actions, but they can see where everyone else is standing. And then there's a global chat. Is that right? Yeah, that's funny. I can imagine that can be really funny. Especially if that's some kind of RPG game or something. When you can see where people go with their quest or something. Okay, now you can see the block. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep that and do something else. Select some dialogue. Let's go for Mr. Barkley first. Cool. Local fine. Dialogue. Barkley. Barkley. Oh, wait. That's the wrong folder. Dialogue. I think it's mission 6. Let me see what Barkley has here. Barkley. No. MP. Okay, they all start with MP. There we go.
I'm king of the holodeck. I'm king of the holodeck.
Oh, that would be nice.
Ah, where's Dr. Crusher when I need her?
Number 3 would be...
Barkley is the king of the holodeck.
Yeah, let's use this. When you look at Barkley, he's gonna say that. And you're gonna do it like... Barkley is... What's the station again? Tactical, okay. Oh no, wait. Engineering, okay. Engineering. Let's go with... Here are the stations filtered. If... Let's do just in this loop. Later we will probably split this up if play dialogue for actor. So what we are now going to do is probably add user var 1, add a variable on this brush, which we can later read from script. It's kind of a settings on the object. Getting Over It is a rage game that was popular for a little while back in 2017. The game where you play as man stuck in a pot who has to use a hammer to climb over a series of obstacles is purely mouse controls. That sounds funny. Yeah, they're funny games. I mean, they're games like Postal, so yeah. So let's go actually for a dialogue that we know is good. Go into a mission script. Yeah, let's go in here and find a dialogue. Play dialogue, there we go. Let's just copy the entire thing and adjust it. Play dialogue for actor. So what we also want to do is grab the actor, so that we can do by, for example, with, it's just like this, use over 2 and use over 1. We want the name of the actor, which is Engine. Okay. Name of the actor is ENG. And that's the dialogue. And for ease of use, let's remove this. And go with that plus let's go here, string as dialogue, go for the target. Let me see the target. So we are in here where the target exists. Okay, so let's go here. If target, oh, let's, yeah, that should be okay. Get string var user var 1 is not empty, then we can actually assume there is something. And user word 2 is also not empty. We can assume there is some sort of dialogue which we can get dialogue. Let's put it just like this here. And the range, we want something like 300 or so. So it can be heard all over the bridge, but is not too annoying. So if the dialogue is not empty, I'm gonna play it. And we also want to check for if, so the target is the trigger and user of 1 should be a, oops, should be an actor. So let's type entity. Let's go for actor, entity actor, get string var 1, get entity from that target name. That should do it. And if does actor exist, does entity exist, let's also make sure, just in case, get health, that the actor is actually still alive, because people like to kill actors and fuck up the script. Bigger than 0, yeah, that was right. Oh, there we go. Come over here. So the actor actually is present. So that's the actor and has health. And there is a user var 2. So we have actually a dialogue. Then the dialogue is played on the actor. So the thing that needs to be changed is this. So let me just look at this here. It's user var 2. Put it here, and user var 1. I think that was con. And this was tactical. This was tech. And user var, let's copy that again. 02 is again Barclay. So they all speak like Barclay, but that should be fine. I build a map. So the game was notorious for being what? Infuriatingly, yes, infuriating, yeah, something, infuriating. I've got it, but damn, challenging for most people, often resulting in playthroughs where many hours long, or people just give up on it entirely. Now here, the speedrunners this year beating the game in less than a minute. Yeah, that's funny. People find glitches. The game isn't long, it's just really challenging for most people and has no checkpoints. Yeah, I hate games without... Well, actually, I like games without checkpoints if they have a save system. I prefer that. The game, often you can make a mistake and lose all your progress. It's probably not quite the kind of game I'm attached to. I mean, I'm old. That's a good excuse for everything. I mean, I'm the player that actually likes progress. I don't want to do things that I did going to waste. I like things I did to be somewhat meaningful or be retained. I don't know. That's just one of my things. It's just me. I know people like a challenge where they have to do things over again and really give their best. Yeah, I can imagine that. I can imagine that. But there are really people that really like a challenge like this. They really wouldn't play any other games. Okay, this...
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Okay, we should probably have a protection here.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Yeah, it's okay. I believe you, Mr. Barclay. So let's actually have last actor. Let's add a variable here because we have outside last actor, last actor, last actor, last target here, last actor. Last actor. Here we go, and we have this actor actually being the current actor. So if last actor does exist, does entirely exist. Last actor, we're gonna stop dialogue. Yeah, gonna shut up the previous actor. And we also want to have something like if there's no, yeah. If, yeah, we also want this only to be shown when there's actually also a message printed. I think we can save some statements here. Print message. Print message. I still wonder to this day how I got actually into coding, because I'm a person that needs visual things. So it's actually strange for me to do something like coding in terms of how my brain functions. The game has narration that plays in the background as you are playing. So it narrates kind of what was the game in Source Engine that narrated what you were doing all the time? Is it like that? Print the message. Now let's restart. Hello? Now, okay.
Barclay is a king of the holodeck. Barclay is Barclay.
Bark, 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 yeah. Exactly, bark, bark, bark. Okay, this seems to work. Seems to work reliably. Yeah, it's working. This is the real Barclay. This is her. And this is Dr. Stevenson. So now let's change their dialogues. Just for good measure. To make sure this is really reliably working. This was... What's her name? Just hide this. Miyamoto. Yeah. Miyamoto. Just see if there are dialogues for her. She was on the Enterprise. Which mission? I don't really know. There's no Miyamoto. Nope. Oh, here we go.
If you're interested, I have some good books for you to read. I really recommend the Dixon Hill novels. If you're interested,
That's enough, Ensign.
If you're interested, I have some good books. Hello, Lieutenant. I'm the ship's librarian. If you're interested, I have some good books for you to read.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Lieutenant. If you're
Well, let's go with
interested,
this
I
one.
have some good books for you to read. I really recommend the Dixon Hill novels. If you're interested, I have some good books for you to read. I really
Yeah. Let's go here and put it here. That's her. Yeah. Do it like this. There we go. And now let's see for Dr. Stevenson, her dialogue. There should be something in, I think, 6. Stevenson, Sketcher, Stratton, Sydney, nope. 7, Stevenson, Security, nope. 8. Oh, that's odd. 4, Stevenson, Security. I know for a fact what we can talk to her in game. Question is, Doctor. There we go. She's named Doctor.
Excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I get the
Excellent.
point. Yeah.
Please start the analysis on I've got quite a headache. Please set up the scanners for a hypothalamic scan. This microcellular scan. Please prepare a hypospray with. Bring the electron resonance scanner online. 20 milligrams of impedrazine. This microcellular scan isn't giving me the results I expected. And Ensign Stockman will be working on the EPS conduit. Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson. I've got quite a headache. Bring the electron resonance scanner online.
Okay. Let's go with this. And then see how that actually works out in game. Here we go. Build. Gonna build the map again. Let me just read the message. Here's excerpt of the narration. Starting over is harder than starting up. If you're not ready for that, like if you have already had a bad day, then what you're about to go through may be too much. No, that's nice. I can really see this to be really funny. Yeah. I actually like watching people playing this stuff, but I, for the life of me, don't really, I don't know. I think I'm too dry. I'm a dry person, somewhat. I don't know. Some people are much more open for fun like this. I like people that have fun with it, to watch them, but I'm not that person playing this stuff. You know, I know I'm more like this shooter guy. I really like to dive into a really good shooter. Like for me, Elite Force 2 is one of the best in terms of multiplayer competitive fragging, really fast paced, and the weapons precision might not be the best example because it could be better. But the overall movement and tactical gameplay you can bring in this game is one of my favorite. I really prefer it to older games or more modern games. I think the only other game that came really close to this was Unreal Tournament 2004 and one of the Call of Duty series. But the Call of Duty games are so full of cheaters, I'm sorry, I can really not enjoy them. It was really terrible playing that game. I played it for like 2 weeks or so, and then I had my fair share of cheaters, and that was pretty much for me. So I do like some kind of competitive game, but I've grown out of it a little bit, so I got old and lazy, I think. There we go. You are targeting. Yeah.
Barclay is a king. Barclay is.
Let's actually reload the map entirely because I have recompiled it. So restarting only works for changes in script, but not when the map has changed. Activating it.
Is the king of the holiday. Barclay is...
If you're interested, I have some good books for you to read. I really recommend the Dixon Hill novels. If you're interested, I have some. If you're interested,
Greetings, Lieutenant. Greetings, Lieutenant. Greetings, Lieutenant. Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson. Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr.
If you're interested,
Barclay is...
I think we need another check here. We need the last actor to actually set float bar talking to 0. And we need this one to be set to talking 1. And then we need dialogue length. So dialogue length. Wait for dialogue length. Yep, then we have here a function. How does that work? I think we need this set of actors. Actor. Yeah, that naming scheme is stupid, but well, let's go with it. Bridge Commander dialogue reset actor resets the talking variable. So this is basically fairly easy to do these things with the script, and doing this in C++, for example, would take months instead of days with script. As dialogue does entity access the actor. Let's go like this. Wait for dialogue length. Let's just make sure if there is really dialogue. If dialogue is not, then we wait for the dialogue length, and if the actor is still present and not killed by a player or removed otherwise, we do actually see what I have in 75. We do actually go here, go 75. Reset the talking state. So let's copy this over and put it here, and then we go for this here, and we go for thread, and we give the current actor and the current dialogue. And then we check Yeah, let's check with this here. If there's a last actor, okay, we should check. We could have actually saved this. Oh man, we actually don't need this function. All we need to do is add a check here. If last actor is not the same as the current actor, let me do something. Just check chat real quick. Yeah. All right. Let me go back to what I wanted actually to do. Yeah. If it's the same actor, we don't want to play. We don't want to stop the sound. Actually, all this stuff. Oh wait. No, because if there's no last actor, yeah, okay. And again, a variable float b talk. What? Yeah, that's right. Talk. I'm not sure if defining it like this actually works, because sometimes I think it's glitching. I'm not sure. So let's talk. We will see. Come on. So generally just talk if there is dialogue. If the last actor exists and the last actor is equal to the current actor, we don't talk. Talk is 0. So if the last actor exists and if talk, if we are supposed to talk and the last actor does exist, we are shutting the last actor up. And we would need to kill this function anyway then, so we can completely remove it. Completely remove it, actually. It's more trouble than it actually is helpful. So yeah. Talk, stop dialogue. So the previous actor shuts up. Actor should speak. Shut up, Wesley. Not sure if that's right spell, but I think everyone gets the point. So let's go here. Let's play the new dialogue. That's not right. That's right. So the previous actor stops talking. Actor should talk. Shut up, Wesley. New actor talk. So, and there's one more condition we need to check. If there is a last actor, if the last actor is equal to the current actor, we don't want the new actor to talk. Okay, let's just try it. I think that's right so far. Can use this.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Oh, she's not talking. For some reason she's not talking. Let me see. Let me see. Talking. If only my brain would come with me on this journey. Last actor, if last actor exists and last actor is the same as the current actor, we don't talk. Let's just print something out. Player, where are you? Hot print. There we are. Let's just copy this. Talk 0. Here we go. And let's have a talk 1 here. If there is dialogue, if there is a actor, I should probably be reworked a little bit later, but for now, let's just try this. There we go. Oh. Activate.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
If you're interested, I have
Oh, that works.
Greetings, Lieutenant.
If you're interested,
Barclay
I have some good books for you to read. I really recommend the Dixon Hill novels.
It's not working anymore. Okay, something broke. Let's try again. Come on. Yeah.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Ah. I think that's it. That's...
If you're interested,
Barclay
I
target
have some
this
good
one.
books for you to read.
It breaks.
I really recommend the Dixon Hill novels.
For some reason it breaks when targeting the view screen. So where could this be? Anyway, let's just make a note. because I'm not gonna fix it with this brain of mine right now. But there's one more thing I want them to do, which is look at me when they are talking to me. Head watch. Head watch. Come on, where's the command? Head watch. Entity to watch. Uploads max. Which target? I think it's this command. New extra talk. Wait. Yeah, it's actually bad to have a wait in a loop, but let's do it anyway. Because this needs to be upgraded anyway. And it's just an experiment. So just want to see how much we can recreate the basic scenario of Bridge Commander. And TTWatch ePlayer. Watch the player with the speed of, let's say, I have no idea, 33. Head watch target, I think, is the right. It's the right thing here. Head watch target. I think it's none. I have to look this up. Head watch target float speed. Okay, the speed is pretty much the same, and let's do this faster. So let's activate the trigger here.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
He's not. Oh, now he's looking at me. Something messed up again.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Why is he only looking after to me? Head watch. That could be a dialogue thing. So let's just disable the dialogue and try again. Should actually break. Why he's looking instantly at me. Okay. Well, she's not. So let's just remove the wait and see what this is doing. Activate the trigger.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Okay, dude. He's not looking at me before he speaks. I think that's a dialogue thing. Pretty sure of it. So let's try that. While one, go for playing the dialogue. It's fairly short, so let's say wait 4 seconds will do. Looping this. Then see if he actually moves his head in between the dialogue. Activate it. Hello? Not working.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck. Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Okay, so that's a dialogue thing, clearly.
Barclay is a king of the holodeck. Barclay is a king of the holodeck. Barclay is a king of the holodeck.
Okay, so they're not capable of looking at me while talking like this.
Barclay is a king of the holodeck.
Which is funny, but well, let's go with it. Let's go with it. So the actor's not watching the player. Let's see, it was here too. Gotta play the dialogue once. And while we're at it, let's just figure out as last action for today, what actually is causing the issue here with the script. So let's reactivate some of the debugging. No last target. Print message 0. If print message is enabled, this is that. I think if you have only valid targets as last target, this should be fixed. So let's see if that is true. Let's go here and activate. No target. No last target. Okay, that's not problem.
Barclay is a king of the holodeck.
If you're interested,
Greetings, Lieutenant.
If you're interested, I have some good books.
Barclay
If you're interested,
Yeah, that
I have
fixes
some
it.
good books.
Greetings, Lieutenant.
If you're interested, I have some good books.
Barclay is
If you're interested, I have some good books for you to read.
We just
I
have
really
to
recommend
remove
Stephen Hill novels.
was this here and put it somewhere here. You already are the captain. Well, let's put it here. Else. This is very rudimentary and represents in no way a final product, but for the purpose of testing how far we can actually create or recreate a Bridge Commander scenario, this is fine. You have now the con. You have now the con. You have now the con. There we go, restarting the level. Activate.
Barclay is a king of the holodeck.
If you're interested, I
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson.
If you're interested,
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson.
if you're interested,
Barclay is a king of
if you're interested,
Greetings, Lieutenant.
if you're interested,
Barclay.
if you're interested, I have some good books for you to read.
So because it's so much fun,
Dixon Hill
let's add something else. Hut print. Hut. Let's add here string as last hut. Last hut. And also have that only come up when we have a change. That's hut. Oh. We need the hut. We're gonna get it from the target. Raw target name. Gonna get it somewhere here. they actually talk. Let's get it here. Yeah, as string as hot like this. Go for useOver3. UseOver3. If that useOver3 is actually not empty, well, not empty, we are going to show the player a HUD. So player the player add HUD. So the HUD could also be a real menu, which it will be later once this goes really into further testing or development. HUD let's just see. Wait, let's have a wait here, which is actually not ideal, but well, no one cares. Remove HUD. Last HUD. If there's actually something like a last HUD, remove the last HUD. And then wait a moment so there's no conflict when adding and removing the same HUD. If last HUD not empty, remove the last HUD, then add new HUD. Now let's go and pick HUDs. There we go. UI, credits, console loading, menu OK, menu video, objective, notified text. Let's go with something funny. Oh, let's go with this. Level exit. Level exit. So when we look at Barclay, I want to have the level exit HUD. UseOver3. Level exit. And when we look at her, what can I have for her? Oh, let's go with this one. UseOver3. And this one. What do we have here? Let's go with something on the right side. Yeah, let's go with this. Oh, that's a funny name. Oh, let's go with it. You can all close them. Yeah, and still close it. We go with useOver3. There we go. Now we need to recompile the map. Okay, so restart level. activating the trigger, you now have the con.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
I'm targeting Barclay. He's talking to me. But
If you're interested, I have some good
oh,
books for you
she's
to read.
working.
Greetings, Lieutenant.
Oh, he's working.
If you're interested,
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Oh, his HUD does not work.
if you're interested,
This HUD
Greetings,
works.
Lieutenant. I
And
have
this
got
HUD
your
works.
if you're interested, I have some good books
Yeah,
for you to read.
let's fix the
I really
flickering.
recommend the Dixon Hill novels.
If last HUD not empty. And if last HUD not empty, remove it. Well, and last HUD not the same as the current HUD. Remove it, and the same, kind of the same check we have here, so we don't add the same HUD twice. If the last HUD is, yeah, I think that's gonna create a problem here. Yeah, it's gonna create a problem, so let's move this stuff. Yeah, that's stupid. Let's move this stuff in here. We have weight here, no. If the house is not empty, yeah, let's move it inside. That's been fixed. Remove that. HUD print talk. Yep. Let's add it here. Remove old and add new HUD. Slash menu. So that would be a overlay menu where the player could actually select some kind of action. And therefore give orders like you would in Bridge Commander. There we go. I'm gonna restart. Looking at her, nothing's happening. Looking at him. Oh yeah, got it.
If you're
Activated.
interested, I have some good books for you to read. I really recommend the Dixon Hill novels.
Barclay is the king of the
Okay,
holodeck.
his HUD does not
If
work.
you're interested,
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am
First
Dr.
works.
Stevenson.
if you're interested, I have some good books for you
Need
to
to
read.
fix
Barclay
his.
is the king of the holodeck.
We need to fix his. Let's go for M6 exterior boundary warning. So these HUDs that are showing now, they would be replaced with actual menus. So you would then select from the side your commands like you do in Bridge Commander. These HUDs here are just for development purposes, representing a menu. Ah yes, on the level we go. The next step would then be to add specific commands to each menu and make some kind of interaction happening, which will definitely not happen today. There we go. Let's try this again. So let's target him.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Okay, something's off with him. Use of R3. No, well, it's there. Use of R3, that's correct.
If you're interested, I have some.
Greetings, Lieutenant.
Hers
I am-
work.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Oh,
If you're interested,
Barclay is.
if you're interested, I have some good books for you to read. I really recommend.
Greetings, Lieutenant.
If you're interested,
yeah,
I
the
have some
clearing
good
needs to
books
go.
for you
That
read. I really recommend the Dixon Hill novels.
yeah, but that's as you actually.
Greetings, Lieutenant.
If you're interested,
Barclay
Yeah,
is the king
I
of
think
the
that's
holodeck.
detail. But I still want Barclay to actually work before I finish this up. Let's go for insert CD. Let's see if that actually works. Do that. And compile and close the game. There we go. And load the level again. There we go. Activate the trigger. Are we? Are we not? Are we? I think we have. No, we haven't. Now we have.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
if you're interested, I have.
Greetings, Lieutenant.
For
Barclay is
some
the king of the holodeck.
reason,
If you're interested,
Barclay
adding
is
the HUD does not work with Barclay.
Greetings, Lieutenant.
if you're interested, I have.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Yeah, but I don't know why. And I'm probably not figuring this out today. So, as far as I can, as far as I see it, this is a success. We kind of recreated a Bridge Commander scenario where the player is the captain, looks at an actor, a menu pops
I
up,
really recommend the Dixon Hill novels.
a dialogue is playing, and then the player could potentially select stuff from the menu, which would be the next step to implement.
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson.
If you're interested, I have some good books.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
So I would say that's a success. And I'm gonna call it a night. So I hope you could have some form of enjoyment from this. If not, I'm terribly sorry. See you next time.